Story 1: The Yuletide Coven. It was Christmas night in the sleepy town of Evergreen Hollow, nestled deep in the snow-blanketed forests of Vermont. The air was crisp, carrying the faint scent of pine and wood smoke from chimneys where families gathered around twinkling trees. But for Emily Hargrove, a 32-year-old single mother, this Christmas felt heavier than usual. Her husband had passed away 2 years prior in a freak car accident on these very roads, skidding on black ice under a full moon. Now, it was just her and her 8-year-old daughter, Lily, in their modest cottage on the edge of town. Emily had tried to make it special, stringing lights, baking gingerbread, and wrapping gifts with care. Lily's laughter had filled the house earlier that evening as she unwrapped a new doll, her eyes wide with wonder. But as midnight approached, an unnatural silence fell over the woods. Emily tucked Lily into bed, kissing her forehead. "Sweet dreams, my love. Santa's already come, but maybe the angels will watch over us tonight." Lily smiled sleepily, clutching her doll. Emily lingered in the doorway, watching her daughter's chest rise and fall before heading downstairs to sip a glass of wine by the fire. The clock struck 12, and outside, the wind howled like a distant scream. That's when the first knock came, soft, almost polite, on the front door. Emily froze, her wine glass halfway to her lips. Who could it be at this hour? The nearest neighbors were miles away, and the snow had been falling steadily, blanketing the roads in a foot of white. She set the glass down and approached the door, peering through the peephole. Nothing but swirling snow and the dark silhouettes of trees. Another knock, this time firmer. "Hello?" she called out, her voice trembling slightly. No answer. Against her better judgment, she cracked the door open, a chain lock still in place. The cold rushed in like icy fingers, and there, on the porch, stood a woman. She was elderly, with silver hair braided intricately and a long woolen cloak dusted in snow. Her eyes were sharp, piercing blue, and she held a basket woven from what looked like thorny vines. "Merry Christmas, dear," the woman said, her voice raspy like dry leaves. "I've come bearing gifts for the little one." Emily's heart pounded. "I'm sorry, do I know you?" The woman smiled, revealing teeth stained yellow. "Oh, we've met in passing, in dreams perhaps. I'm Mother Elowen from the old woods, your daughter. She has such a bright spirit. May I come in? The night is bitter." Emily hesitated. Something about the woman's gaze felt wrong, like it was peeling back layers of her soul. But it was Christmas, and the woman looked harmless, frail even. "Just for a moment," Emily said, unlatching the chain. "To warm up." Mother Elowen stepped inside, her cloak shedding snow that melted instantly on the wooden floor, leaving no puddles. She placed the basket on the table and uncovered it, revealing small, wrapped packages tied with red ribbons that seemed to pulse faintly, like hearts. "For Lily," she whispered, "sweets and charms to keep the darkness at bay." Upstairs, Lily stirred in her sleep, murmuring something incoherent. Emily glanced toward the stairs, unease gnawing at her. "Thank you, but we really should." Before she could finish, another knock echoed. This time, 2 women stood on the porch, one young and beautiful with raven hair, the other middle-aged with a scar across her cheek. They too wore cloaks, and their eyes gleamed with the same unnatural blue. "Sisters," Mother Elowen explained. "We've traveled far for this night, Yule's Eve when the veil thins." "Yule," Emily echoed, backing away. "This is Christmas," The women entered without invitation, their footsteps silent. The young one, who introduced herself as Celine, circled the room, her fingers trailing over the Christmas tree ornaments. "Such pretty baubles," she cooed. But they hide the truth. "This night belongs to us, the witches of the Hollow. We've waited centuries for a child like yours." Terror gripped Emily's throat. "Get out. Now!" The scarred woman, Thorn, laughed, a sound like cracking ice. "Too late, mortal. The coven gathers." Outside, more figures emerged from the woods, their forms shadowy against the snow. Emily rushed to the window, her breath fogging the glass. There were a dozen of them now, women of all ages, chanting in a language that twisted her insides. The words slithered into her mind, ancient incantations invoking spirits of the winter solstice, blending pagan rites with the holy night. Lily's scream pierced the air from upstairs. Emily bolted for the stairs, but Mother Aloan grabbed her arm with surprising strength, nails digging like claws. "She is chosen. Her pure soul will fuel our eternal youth. On this Christmas night, we reclaim what the Christians stole, our sacred Yule." Emily wrenched free and raced up, bursting into Lily's room. Her daughter was sitting up in bed, eyes wide with fear, pointing at the window. There, perched on the sill like a gargoyle, was another witch, a hag with withered skin and eyes glowing red. She cackled, scratching at the glass with talons that left smoking trails. "Mommy, they're everywhere!" Lily cried. Emily scooped her up, heart hammering. "We have to run!" Downstairs, the coven had filled the living room. The Christmas tree's lights flickered erratically, casting demonic shadows. The witches formed a circle, their chants growing louder, the air thickening with the smell of sulfur and herbs. Emily clutched Lily, dashing for the back door, but it was barred by Thorn, who grinned maniacally. "The snow will bury your screams." Desperation fueled Emily. She grabbed a poker from the fireplace and swung it wildly, connecting with Celine's face. The witch shrieked, her beauty melting away to reveal rotting flesh beneath. But the others closed in, their hands outstretched, fingers weaving spells that made the air shimmer. Lily whimpered, "The doll! It's moving!" Emily looked down. The new doll in Lily's arms twitched, its porcelain eyes opening to reveal the same blue glow. It whispered, "Join us, child. Eternal night awaits." Horror surged through Emily. She hurled the doll into the fire, where it screamed as flames consumed it. The coven howled in rage, their forms shifting, cloaks unfurling into bat-like wings, faces elongating into snarls. Emily dragged Lily toward the basement door, the only escape left. They tumbled down the stairs into the damp darkness, barricading the door with an old shelf. Above, pounding fists and claws scratched, the wood splintering. In the basement, Emily fumbled for a flashlight, its beam revealing dusty relics from her husband's family. Old books, crucifixes, and a silver dagger etched with runes. Her husband had been a historian, obsessed with local folklore. "Witches," he'd once joked, "burned here in the 1600s, but some say they never died." The door buckled. Emily grabbed the dagger, whispering a prayer she half remembered from childhood. Lily clung to her, tears streaming. "Are they Santa's helpers?" "No, baby, they're monsters!" The door burst open, and the coven descended like a swarm. Mother Aloan led them, her form towering now, horns sprouting from her brow. "Give us the child!" Emily lunged, stabbing the dagger into Eloan's chest. The witch gasped, black ichor spilling. but she laughed. "Silver? Foolish! We are bound to this night." The others attacked, claws raking Emily's skin. She fought desperately, protecting Lily, but they were outnumbered. Celine snatched Lily, lifting her toward the ceiling where shadows coalesced into a portal of swirling darkness. "No!" Emily screamed, tackling Celine. They crashed to the floor, the dagger embedding in the witch's throat. Gurgling, Celine dissolved into ash. The coven faltered, their chance breaking. Thorn charged, but Emily swung a nearby axe, her husband's old tool, severing the witch's arm. Black blood sprayed and Thorn retreated, howling. Mother Elowen weakened, snarled. "This is not over. Every Christmas night we return." With a final surge, Emily drove the dagger into Elowen's heart again, twisting until the witch crumbled to dust. The remaining coven scattered, vanishing into wisps of smoke that fled up the stairs. Silence returned, broken only by Lily's sobs. Emily held her daughter close, bloodied and trembling. They emerged into the living room, where the Christmas tree stood serene once more, lights steady. But as dawn broke, Emily noticed the snow outside melting unnaturally, revealing ancient symbols carved into the earth. And in the distance, a faint chant echoed on the wind. They had survived this Christmas night, but the witches would wait for the next. Story 2: Midnight's Curse. In the bustling suburb of Willow Creek, Illinois, Christmas night was a time of joy for most. Twinkling lights adorned every house, carols played from open windows, and the scent of roasted turkey lingered in the air. For 45-year-old widower Jack Thompson and his teenage son, Ethan, it was a fragile attempt at normalcy. Jack's wife had died of cancer the previous year, leaving a void that no amount of decorations could fill. Ethan, 16 and brooding, had withdrawn into video games and late-night scrolls on his phone. Jack had pushed for tradition, a tree, stockings, and a ham dinner. They'd exchanged gifts awkwardly, Ethan muttering thanks for a new gaming console. As the clock neared midnight, Jack sat alone in the living room, nursing a scotch. Ethan had retreated to his room upstairs, headphones blasting heavy metal to drown out the holiday cheer. Outside, a light snow fell, muffling the world. Jack glanced at the family photo on the mantel, happier times, and sighed. Then, a rustle came from the chimney. Jack chuckled to himself. Must be the wind. But the rustle grew louder, accompanied by a thud. Ashes scattered from the fireplace, and something emerged. It wasn't Santa. A figure in a tattered red cloak, hooded and hunched, crawled out like a spider from its web. Long, gnarled fingers clutched a sack that writhed as if alive. The figure straightened, revealing a face, feminine, with skin like cracked parchment, eyes black as coal, and a mouth stretched in a grotesque smile filled with needle-like teeth. "Ho, ho, ho!" she croaked, her voice a parody of jolly. "I've come for the naughty ones." Jack stumbled back, knocking over his glass. "Who the hell are you?" The witch, for that's what she was, tilted her head. "They call me Krampus's kin, but I'm older. Yaga of the North. On Christmas night, when faith wavers, I visit homes like yours. Broken spirits are my feast." Jack's mind reeled. This couldn't be real. He grabbed a fire poker, brandishing it. "Get out!" Yaga laughed, a sound like shattering glass. She opened her sack, and out spilled not gifts, but curses. Small, obsidian orbs that rolled across the floor, pulsing with dark energy. One touched Jack's foot, and pain exploded up his leg. A vision of his wife's final moments, twisted into nightmare, her face melting as she begged for death. He swung the poker, but Yaga dodged with unnatural speed, her cloak swirling. "Your pain feeds me, and the boy upstairs. His anger is delicious." Ethan's music stopped abruptly. Jack yelled, "Ethan, stay in your room!" But curiosity, or something compelled, drew Ethan down. He appeared at the stairs, eyes widening at the scene. "Dad, what the—" Yaga's eyes locked on him. "Ah, the young one, so full of rage. Come, child, receive your gift." She hurled an orb at Ethan, who ducked just in time. It shattered against the wall, releasing a swarm of shadowy insects that buzzed toward Jack. He swatted them away, their bites injecting visions. Ethan's future, alone and broken, ending in suicide. "No!" Jack roared, charging Yaga. He tackled her, but her body felt like ice-cold iron. She clawed his back, drawing blood that sizzled on the floor. Upstairs, more rustling. Ethan ran back to his room, slamming the door, but it burst open. 2 more witches slithered from the vents, sisters to Yaga, their forms skeletal and veiled in frost. One, with hair like frozen snakes, hissed, "The coven claims this house." Ethan grabbed his baseball bat, swinging wildly. He connected with one skull, cracking it open to reveal writhing maggots. But the other pinned him, her breath reeking of decay. "Your mother's soul whispers to us. She wants you to join her." Downstairs, Yaga pinned Jack to the floor, her nails at his throat. "Christmas night is our hunt. The holy birth masks our rebirth. We feed on despair, growing stronger." Jack's eyes darted to the Christmas tree. Among the ornaments was a silver cross, a family heirloom. He reached for it, fingers straining. Yaga noticed and cackled. "Faith, you lost that long ago." With a surge of adrenaline, he grabbed the cross and pressed it to her face. She screamed, skin blistering. "Blasphemy!" Upstairs, Ethan heard the cry and remembered his mother's Bible on the shelf. He broke free, reciting a half-forgotten prayer as he bashed the witch's head. She dissolved into mist, screeching. The third witch descended, merging with Yaga's power. Now towering Yaga's form split into multiples, illusions or clones, surrounding father and son as they reunited in the living room. "We are Legion," they intoned. "On this night, we curse the living." Jack and Ethan backed against the wall, armed with cross and bat. The witches advanced, orbs exploding into tendrils that wrapped around their legs, pulling them down. Visions assaulted them, endless winters, families torn apart, souls trapped in eternal night. In a final act, Ethan hurled his console at the fireplace, igniting the sack. Flames erupted, consuming the curses. Yaga howled as her essence burned, her forms collapsing into one writhing mass. Jack stabbed the cross into her chest. "Be gone!" With a deafening wail, Yaga exploded into ash, scattering like snow. The house fell silent. Father and son embraced, shaken. But as morning light filtered in, they noticed the ashes reforming subtly in the corners. The curse lingered, waiting for next Christmas night. Story 3: Solstice Sacrifice. Deep in the Appalachian Mountains, the village of Frostbite Ridge clung to traditions like frost to branches. Christmas night meant midnight mass at the old church, followed by feasts and stories by the hearth. For 28-year-old Sarah Mills, a city transplant who had moved back to care for her ailing grandmother, it was a reluctant homecoming. Grandma Elsie, 85 and bedridden, rambled about old ways and the watchers in the woods. Sarah dismissed it as dementia, focusing on decorating the creaky farmhouse with lights and a plastic tree. Her boyfriend, Mark, had joined her from Boston, skeptical but supportive. As snow piled high outside, they gathered around Grandma's bed for a quiet celebration. Elsie clutched a rosary, her eyes distant. "Beware the witches," she whispered. "They come on Christmas night, when the stars align with Yule. They seek blood to renew the land." Sarah smiled indulgently. "It's just stories, Gran." Mark chuckled. "Like the Blair Witch? Spooky?" But as midnight tolled from the distant church bell, the power flickered out. Candles cast eerie shadows. A howl echoed. Not a wolf, but something human, twisted. Mark peered out the window. "Probably the wind," then scratching at the door. Sarah opened it cautiously, revealing a group of women, 5 cloaked in fur and feathers, faces painted with ash and blood. Their leader, a tall figure with antler-like headdress, spoke. "We are the daughters of Hecate. This night, the solstice demands tribute." Sarah slammed the door, heart racing. "Call the police!" No signal. The women chanted outside, their voices weaving through the walls like smoke. The temperature plummeted, frost creeping inside. Grandma Elsie sat up suddenly, eyes clear. "They're here for me. I was one of them, long ago. I left the coven, but the pact binds." Sarah stared. "What?" Elsie explained in hushed tones. In her youth, the village witches practiced secret rites, blending pagan Yule with Christmas to ensure fertile springs. But betrayal led to a curse. Every 50 years, on Christmas night, they must sacrifice a deserter or their kin. Mark barricaded the door, but the witch's magic seeped in. Vines burst through floorboards, wrapping around his ankles. He hacked at them with a knife, but they regrew, thorns drawing blood. One witch smashed a window, climbing in. Her skin was bark-like, eyes glowing amber. "The old one first!" Sarah grabbed a shotgun from the closet, Grandpa's relic, and fired. The witch staggered, hole in her chest oozing sap. But she laughed. "Bullets feed the earth!" More invaded, their forms shifting. One became wolfish, snarling, another avian, wings flapping. They dragged Elsie from bed, her screams frail. Sarah fought, blasting another, but they overwhelmed Mark, pinning him. A witch forced a potion down his throat, hallucinogenic herbs that made him see horrors. Sarah's face rotting, Elsie's body twisting into a tree. In the chaos, Elsie whispered a counterspell, ancient words that weakened the coven. "Burn the effigy," she gasped. Sarah remembered. The attic held a straw doll, a witch's puppet from Elsie's past. She raced up, witches pursuing, their claws scraping stairs. In the attic, amid dust and relics, she found it, a grotesque figure bound with hair. She doused it in lamp oil and lit it. Flames roared, and downstairs, the witches shrieked in agony, their bodies convulsing as if burning from within. The leader burst in, antlers impaling the wall. "You cannot break the cycle." Sarah shoved her into the flames. The witch ignited, her screams echoing through the night. The coven fled, dissolving into mist that seeped into the snow. Power returned, lights flickering on. But Elsie lay still, sacrificed in the fray. Mark, dazed, held Sarah as she wept. Outside, the snow-covered tracks, but symbols etched in frost on the windows promised return. Next Christmas night, the witches would hunger anew.